The next point was the issue you raised about being more worthy and deserving by virtue of having gone to college and grad school to get a good job in your chosen field. And calling the poor welfare parasites. You call the poor who receive some meager welfare benefits for a limited term welfare parasites, but let's talk about who the real parasites are. The government bailout for global corporations and Wall Street banksters went to fund CEOs' lavish lifestyles. While America's poor get derided for being welfare parasites, the real parasites are the rich, who spent their taxpayer bailout slurping down Mai Tais on exclusive beach resorts that they flew to in their privately owned Lear jets. They didn't shore up their failing companies. They didn't keep their workforce employed. They slashed even more jobs and dumping more Americans into poverty while laughing all the way to the yachts. And they did that on your ticket. You talk about your college education and grad school. Since the passage of the Graham-Rudman bill under the Reagan administration during the late 1980s, Title IV monies, which is need-based financial student aid for college, Pell Grants and Stafford loans, were slashed, leaving the poor and the lower middle class with less options of being able to go to college, leaving them with facing employers who were increasingly raising the bar and demanding job candidates have the bare minimum of a bachelor's degree for the most low-level positions. Now, the slashing in Pell Grants and student aid occurred at a time when the college tuition price tag was skyrocketing because of corporate expectations and demands that its workforce and job candidates have college degrees. This put obtaining a college education beyond the reach, further beyond the reach, of the lower middle class and poor. Only 7% of those from the lowest economic bracket get the opportunity to go to college and graduate before age 26. 7%. As far as grad school, the rate is less than 1%. For the poor, college has not only been placed further out of reach, but grad school is off the radar. It's not even on the table. It's not even on the map. So, one's being deserving of being able to benefit socially and economically in our society because of obtaining a higher education is really the result of having benefited from unearned social class privilege. The privilege of being able to afford college and grad school in the first place. Not necessarily because you were more academically talented and more intellectually oriented than someone who was poor but couldn't afford a ticket. So I'm sorry, but just because you went to college and grad school doesn't make you more worthy or emeritus than the poor whom you begrudge getting a bare minimal amount of support in our society. And your insinuation that the undeserving poor are all lazy bums who should be left to fend for themselves after they've been marginalized and economically excluded to the benefit of those who got unfair advantages derived directly from unearned social class privilege is truly what's unfair here. I'd like you to think about your opportunities that you had in your life. Ask yourself, do you think you would have gotten to go to college and grad school if you would have been born as an unwanted accident and tossed out on the streets as a kid? Do you think you would have gotten to go to college and grad school if you were orphaned at 13 and left to fend for yourself as a poor girl in a society that discards poor women? What do you think that might have impacted your life like? Do you think you would have gotten to go to college and grad school? Or maybe, do you think you would have ended up another abuse statistic in a homeless shelter? Or another poor, abandoned single mother who was deserted by the co-conceiver? Do you think you would have gotten the opportunity to develop any talents you might have had? That's a social class privilege that everyone in this society does not have.